5 minutes. 5 minutos. Esta noche es muy caliente.
Hey, download your TikTok app today so you can have Chinese spyware in your house for free. Yay, Chinese spyware. Woo! You go down! You USA number 2, you go down! Give me money.
Fucking future!
We're talking about a fat ass and everything, yeah.
Future!
We're talking about a fat ass and
It's like
everything,
I took
yeah.
a poop and it was one of those painful ones that brings a tear to your eye. It's like I took a poop and it was one of those painful ones that brings a tear to your eye. I gotta turn off my TV. It's still going. Without me. Oh shit, the thing. Peekaboo! Worst burrito ever. And then, well, fuck. Yeah. Oh shit. If I see the eye, I know it's Brian. What up, buddy? Tonight we're having ourselves some creek water. It's what every grown boy needs, a little creek water. Oh, well, don't be texting and driving. I'll just assume you're here while the thing's good, signal's good. Hope you're doing well. Where all did you drive to today? Okay. No, we're fucking up. On that note. Check out that sweet mug of mine. Jesus loves you, but I don't. Go fuck yourself. Hair's looking a little wild, a little gray. It's fine. Where's my book? That's way over there. That is not complimentary at all. Brian, I need a new roof. Costs about as much as your trailer. What do we do? Ooh. That is creek water for sure. No, wrong way. There we go. I had two stains above my master by the sliding glass doors, but it took the paint. I don't know. I don't think it's leaking, not yet. I mean, push comes to shove, I'll just put giant ass tarps and staple them to the fucking roof. But I don't want to go that route. I need an expert to check it out at some point. You're the only expert I know who's also a friend. Oh no. Chapter 15, Rescue. Ooh, I need another sip of water. That creek water burns like fire. Oh, that's what I need to do. I need to prep my canvas. Chapter 15, Rescue. Nick and I step off Shane Steiner's Oh, August 2021. Ooh, this is pretty recent. Nick and I step off Shane Steiner's red R-44 helicopter into my backyard in Austin, Texas. It's a gorgeous sunny Texas day. The sky is blue. There's a little breeze. We just got in a great MMA workout with Shane and Sean Apperson, and then grabbed some delicious Texas barbecue at the original Salt Lick. Well, I painted over it, so you're not going to see it, and I don't think my fat ass is going to fit in that section of the roof. Shane waves, and the engine of his helicopter whines as he throttles it up and takes off on his way home, blowing grass and sand and whatever else is on my lawn into our backs. He's having one of my best friends also be an avid helicopter aficionado is pretty cool, and also saves a lot of wasted hours in traffic. Plus, he lends me his helicopter so I can take my own pilot lessons. That is really nice of him. I wouldn't trust most people to drive my damn truck, none less my fucking helicopter. But, you know, when you got it like that, I hate them. He's a better man than me. Most are, but... Most? I don't know. I think I ride the middle between good and bad. I'm like... I'm nice, but I'm not nice. I'm mean, but I'm not mean. I'm just blah. Hardcore blah, but blah. Now it's time to get to work. This is a crazy busy week for me, and I need to get a lot of stuff done in a very short time. First, Sheepdog Rescue just bought a headquarters building, and we are working hard on getting that open as soon as possible so we can better serve the tens of thousands of people we are training each year now. I can only attend about 10% of our courses because it has grown far beyond just me. Maybe I can grab a black hole. Where you son bitch? Like so. Oh, there we go. I've got light and doesn't make me look extra. I don't think. Oh! Second, I am opening my own school in 1 week. My newest project, Apogee Cedar Park, is to teach elementary school children. I've generally been unhappy with public education and decided to do something about it. Our model is similar to the Montessori model in that it is learner-driven, but it also puts a premium on physical activity. We're leasing an old church building for the school, so we have about a month's worth of construction work to get done in the next 10 days. I've also just closed a deal to buy 100% of my Live Relentless supplement line. I had been the minority owner, but ultimately decided that I wanted to control the whole thing, so working through that has been a little bit of a chore. Later today, I have a call with Evan Hafer from Black Rifle Coffee to realize a new partnership with them. That little coffee company he started with Jared and Matt during Range 15 is now valued at $1.7 billion. Both of those guys have grown up a lot and have legitimately become good friends of mine. The fourth member of their team, Vince Vargas, went his own way and is now a big Hollywood actor. Is he? I've never heard of him. Whatever. Oh, and Nick and I are finishing up this book for Simon & Schuster, which is why he is out from North Carolina for the week. Most of the stuff on that list is being handled by Justin Lakin, who is now my chief of staff and basically runs all my businesses. But with so many new things happening, I need to be directly involved. I try to always put my time toward the main effort, but deciding on the main effort in this scenario is challenging. What's more important, my new headquarters, my new school, my supplement line, my new partnership, or my book, which is due soon? The answer is that they're all important, so I'm trying to make it all work. Now, he wasn't kidding about needing to stay busy. This guy don't fucking mess around. He don't mess around, people! I walk into the kitchen, give Ginger a kiss, and start to make some coffee. My phone has been blowing up all day on every platform with people talking about the dire situation in Afghanistan. Once the United States pulled most of our forces out of the country, Afghanistan quickly fell to the Taliban. The government leadership fled, which left hundreds of thousands of Afghans who worked alongside us for 20 years, as well as thousands of American citizens and green card holders stranded. Now the last bastion of hope for the fleeing Afghan is Hamid Karzai International Airport, HKIA, which we almost lost control of as the Taliban surged past our limited forces on the ground and onto the airstrip. Oh, excuse me. The government sent in 6,000 more troops in the form of soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Division and Marines from the 24th MEU, and they finally brought it under control. But the images and sounds from Afghanistan on the news have been awful. The most poignant moment thus far, which was all over the news, was when a C-17 took off and Afghans were hanging off onto the landing gear in sheer desperation and fell off at about 1,000 feet in the air. It instantly gives me a sharp recollection of the falling man on 9/11. Every veteran I know is getting the same messages that I am getting, either from Afghans begging for help or from other veterans trying to figure out what we can do. We all want to help get people out, so we're using our connections to communicate directly with the soldiers and Marines on the ground in Kabul via WhatsApp or Signal. Many of us have interceptors that we work with during our deployments, and, as far as we're concerned, those interpreters... Oh, I'm sorry, interpreters, not interceptors. Jesus Christ. I'm going to learn how to read one day. And those interpreters are part of us. We cannot leave them behind. For other veterans who didn't serve in Afghanistan, the effort to help is about making amends for the interpreters they couldn't save in Iraq or elsewhere. Even veterans who served in Vietnam, like my uncles, felt this call to duty. They do not want a repeat of the history they lived. For others still, it's a final chance to bring some positive closure to the global war on terror, and to do just the right thing and stick by the people who stuck by us. Ginger heads out the door to grab our kids from school, and I hand Nick a cup of coffee. He's been on the phone with another West Pointer named Adam DeMarco, who started up a group called Allied Airlift 21. It's basically a bunch of West Point nerds that have taken the various data that everyone is throwing around in solo endeavors from emails or signal messages and consolidating it into a database to better communicate with the State Department and the ground forces in Kabul. He gets off the phone. What a fucking shit show, man, he says, referring to our government's performance so far while shaking his head in disgust. Nick's an idealist. He still gets genuinely surprised when people fail as badly as we are failing on this mission right now. How do we pull out all of our forces and then try to evacuate, he asks. He isn't really talking to me, he's just venting. He and I have had this conversation about 1,000 times in the past 48 hours. We sip our coffee in silence for a little while, him wrestling with being let down by America, and me wrestling with the conversation I had earlier today with Chad Robichaud. Man, we as a country, man, we've got some fucked up priorities. Yeah. The whole debacle is food bar. That tastes like whiskey. And that resembles water from a dirty cup. You know how I roll. I don't give a shit. Chad was a Ranger Up sponsored MMA fighter who fought in Strike Force at the same time I was there. A lifetime ago, he was a Force Recon Marine who was then assigned to JSOC and deployed multiple times to Afghanistan. He now runs a successful nonprofit called the Mighty Oaks Foundation, which helps veterans find resilience in all aspects of their lives. I personally attended one of their resiliency programs, and it was life-changing. Chad is a good friend, and he has a problem. His interpreter Aziz is trapped and is actively being hunted because who Aziz is and who he helped. If he is caught, they will rape and murder his wife and children while he watches, and then they will kill him. Chad isn't looking to send messages to Kabul like everyone else. He's been working with his old JSOC buddy Santa 6, who now does contracting work in that region, putting a plan in motion to get Aziz out. Unfortunately, their timeline just got blown because no one expected the entire country to fall to the Taliban in a week. Well, that's what happens when you pull the fucking troops out first, but, you know, the fuck do I know about evacuating a country? Or, was it deoccupying? Unoccupying? I don't know. Pull-out game. Well, I should be an expert in that, so, you know, should totally be me. Is there a plan? I asked him when we were on the phone earlier. we're going to do some crazy shit, I need to know that we're doing this to make a difference and not just go. As I'm thinking about this, Nick gets lost in his phone for a minute. And I see that I have another text message from Chad. He's heading to UAE in 48 hours. The only thing he's waiting for is his COVID test to come back so he can travel. He wants me to go. I'm with Nick right now, working on the book, I text him. Awesome, bring him too. We could use him, he answers. Yeah, I really want to tell Nick's wife Suzanne that I dragged him to Afghanistan with me on another dumb adventure. Not you? Okay, well. I could use you, Brian. I'm waiting for Nick to be off his phone so I can tell him about the crazy thing that Chad just said to me when he looks up from the intense text message series he appears to have been on and says, Sarah Verardo just asked me to go to Afghanistan to help. Well, this just got interesting. Sarah Verardo is the CEO of the Independence Fund, which helps badly wounded veterans succeed post-injuries, but she's also a political powerhouse who has a tendency to make things happen. I met her through Nick, who met her through a charity event. Her husband Mike was badly injured in Afghanistan, which led her to become involved with and eventually run the Independence Fund. She's a force for good in a pretty gross DC world. What did you tell her, I asked. I asked her if there was a plan because I don't want to go there just to say I went, and that if there is one, I have to ask my wife, he responds. What do you think? I smirk. I don't know if we have great minds, but we do think alike. I start a sheepdog response because I am awful at dealing with helplessness. I felt it many times in my life when my childhood friend Jared died at the van crash as an EMT, after the grenade toss in Afghanistan, losing to Romero, and most recently having to endure human traffickers simply getting away with it. Not being able to change a devastating outcome is awful, and I do not want other people to experience that feeling. I want my students to be able to save lives, whether through self-defense or medical aid. That's my chief motivation. That's what I preach. I tell them it is their responsibility to help others. They are the sheepdogs watching their flocks. You know, the whole bureaucracy of shutting down known criminals, if the police aren't willing to do anything about it, I believe that as people of this nation, it is the responsibility falls back on us. Now, unfortunately, the DA is not going to see it that way. They're going to be like, oh, look at this vigilante doing vigilante justice. And I'm not saying go and murder everybody, but if the cops aren't doing anything, what choice is the community left with? They can watch themselves burn from the inside out, or they can do something about it and deal with the consequences. I mean, I honestly don't think there should be consequences for exercising your right to make your neighborhood a safer and better place, but what do I know? I'm just a dumb high school educated Army vet. Fuck. Anyways. The list looks like my... No, you know what? Regardless of viewers, we're going to finish the book tonight. We're going to finish the book tonight. We're so close. 40 pages, that's about an hour, hour and a half. With the crisis in Afghanistan, I'm living with helplessness in the present moment. With all the other cataclysmic events in my life, I was briefly helpless, and then I had to deal with the aftermath. I couldn't change what had happened, it was the past, but here I am watching a real-time crisis that I know I can help with. But I simply don't have the means to do anything about it. Now, with Chad having the access and Sarah having the ability to make this official, this equation is rapidly changing. We get Chad and Sarah on the phone and hash out the details. The two of them have already been working together, and we have built a coalition between their two nonprofits called Save Our Allies. There was a third organization briefly involved in the coalition, but their board overrode their entry for fear of one of us getting killed overseas and dragging them down or something like that. I leave the politics to Sarah. Senator Tom Tillis out of North Carolina is lending his support to our efforts, and Sarah is able to clear manifest directly through the Joint Chiefs of Staff. General Mark Milley, in particular, is leaning forward heavily, trying to help us in this effort to complete the mission. There's a heck of a lot more than I thought we had going for us. This shit just got real. We get off the phone and Nick and I look at each other. Are we really going to Afghanistan, he asks. I think we're really going to Afghanistan, I answer. We spend the rest of the afternoon working on the book, figuring out flights, visas, and COVID tests, and then Nick hops a flight back to North Carolina to spend his anniversary with his wife. I take Ginger out that night and spend the next day working with Justin to determine how fucked he would be with all of the major projects that we have going on. If I were to say, I don't know, disappear for a couple weeks? Why are you so hot? I bark at Nick. We're in the last two seats in the last row, right next to the toilets on our flight from Paris to UAE. We've been traveling for almost a day, and this trip has already seen me fly from Austin to Atlanta, where I linked up with Nick, then from Atlanta to Paris, now from Paris to UAE. By the time we land, the journey will be 30 hours, and Nick is basically a heat engine, and it is annoying the hell out of me. He's a New England Italian dude who wears shorts in a blizzard. He doesn't get cold, ever. And he has wide shoulders, so sitting next to him is like sitting next to a space heater in the summer. And that's what it's like sitting next to me. Wide shoulders and all that body heat and whatnot, I'll tell you what. Can I move over there? I ask the flight attendant. There's a couple of seats completely open and I want one. Sure, he answers. I hop over Nick like a cat and sit down in one. He gets up and sits next to me smirking. I will kill you, I tell him, mostly serious. He smiles and gets up, and I sprawl out and try to get as much sleep as I can. It's not the best sleep, but you take what you can get. By the time we land, I'm ready to get off this plane. We've both been here before, so we're not overwhelmed by the cultural differences. But it's always interesting to transition from the west to the east. People carry themselves differently, the smells are different, the clothes are different. You have to remind yourself that the rules are different. UAE is incredibly progressive by Arab standards, but the expectations of decorum are not Western. Luckily, we've both been pretty much everywhere. We transition from handshakes and nice to meet you as a default greeting to salam alaikum with our hands over our hearts. We ensure we do not look like women in the eyes for too long, for fear of insulting anyone. We do not want to be seen as rude Americans. I mean, I have no problem being seen as a rude American, but I don't go out of my way to be perceived as a rude American. Waffles. UAE is one of the cleanest places you will ever visit. There's a lot of pride and respect for their buildings and their space. The airport is no different. There's white marble everywhere, and even when we arrive at the customs area, everything is bright white. There are stewards passing out free water to everyone, ensuring everyone is comfortable. They do things right here. Well, not to throw too much salt towards the UAE, but they do have a lot of slaves out there. Maybe not necessarily ball and chain slaves, but they have a lot of people whose passports are revoked and don't get paid and are still expected to do their job. That's indentured servitude, which is a fancy way of saying slave, but yeah, they got a lot of that out there, so finding the labor to get shit clean, keeping it pristine and get it built and so on and so forth is a lot easier there than it is elsewhere. Now, there are people that make a lot of money doing jobs more than double what they would make elsewhere. So they're on work visas, mostly construction and stuff, but I'm rambling. I'm going to keep on reading. Don't worry about me. Everything is going smoothly until the point we hit the customs officials. To enter the UAE, even with a negative COVID-19 test, we need to wear an ankle bracelet that is essentially a low jack, like the kind criminals on parole have to wear in the States. The problem with that is Nick and I plan on disappearing from tracking and then reappearing from time to time, and we frankly cannot have these on. We are carrying letters signed by Senator Tillis asking Emir Sheikh Khalifa and bin Zayed Al Nahyan to allow us to enter without them. This letter was accepted for the guys we are linking up with. Santa Six, Joe Robert, Sean G, C-Spray, and Sean Lee. But it isn't working for us. Those guys were able to call the embassy, and the embassy allowed them in. But we arrived just shy of midnight, and the embassy is closed. The airport team won't budge. Nick calls Sarah, who connects him with Senator Tillis, who reaches out to the embassy. There's only a lackey available at this hour, and this is not the kind of thing you wake the ambassador for. So our options are either wait in the airport for 8 hours until the ambassador is up, or work some mojo. The head of security here is cool. He just has a job to do. That's a good start. I'm sorry, my friends. I cannot let you go without hearing from our embassy, he apologizes. I totally understand, Nick Stars, but here's the thing. We're here with permission from your government as an NGO to assist with refugees. There is a UAE driver waiting for us outside. We need to get going. He thinks about it for a moment. I cannot. Maybe I give you the anklet, and then you call tomorrow, and then you cut it off? He half tells us and half asks. We can't do that, I answer. We're not allowed to wear ankle bracelets where we are going. Where are you going? He asks. I cannot tell you, I lie. But we are not staying here long, Nick adds. Where are you heading out to after here then? He asks. There is absolutely no reason not to tell him. We're operating as an NGO, as civilians, and there's nothing secret about this, but that won't get us out of here. I cannot tell you that, I say. Well, let's just say there's a place that is currently being overrun, and there are refugees that need to be saved. We are two guys that are doing that, Nick adds, picking up on what I'm doing. Recognition comes over his face. He knows we are going to Afghanistan, but now feels like he is on a secret. Is in on a secret. He takes us off to the side. Are you military? He whispers. I am, I answer. But this is not a military mission. I am here as a civilian. Do you have a military ID? He asks. I show him the ID and reiterate, I'm here as a civilian, not military. I understand, he says, and motions to Nick. And you? Are you military? Not anymore. I have a different job, Nick trails off ominously. I chuckle to myself because his different job is CEO of Diesel Jack Media, a marketing company, and president of Ranger Up. He has no government affiliation that hasn't for a long time, but he sells it, never once lying. I understand, he nods. Okay, you can go. Thank you for what you're doing. And just like that, we walk out the door, having dropped a pretty impressive bullshit game to get through customs. As the sliding doors open, the warm Emirates air hits me. Feels nice to have something other than recycled airport air wash over my skin for the first time in 2 days. We are immediately greeted by Sean Lee, a former infantry NCO who worked for Sarah at the Independence Fund for a while. He's a short guy, about Nick's height, with salt and pepper hair and a couple of extra retirement pounds, but he still looks the part of an infantryman. Nice to finally meet you guys in person, he says cheerfully, but through very tired eyes. How's it been, I ask. Well, let me put it this way, I'm so happy to see you guys. We've been running non-stop. I've only slept an hour or two here and there. Sean, G, and Sea Spray are in rough shape. They're looking forward to having you out there. Right now, it is Santa 6, Joe, me, and Leon running the JOC. But we think Joe has COVID, so he's holed up in his room. Sean, G, and Sea Spray are forward, and Dave Johnson, who just got out here, flew to Kabul this morning, Sean explains. Is Chad out here yet? Nick asks. Not yet, but he's on his way. He landed in Abu Dhabi and is driving in. Awesome, I reply. Ugh. Whiskey. The only people I know on this trip are Chad and Nick. Everyone else, like us, is here through some connection to Chad or to someone Chad knows. And not all those connections are ironclad. Sean G and Sea Spray, for example, were trying to come over here to help, but couldn't get permission to operate on their own. Because Sean G used to work with Santa 6, Santa 6 offered up the opportunity to work with us on this, and he jumped at the chance. With that, Joe cleared the way for him to arrive, but he immediately got to work. But we're walking into a dangerous situation, and I like to have more airtight bona fides than this. Oh, hey, two guys I don't know you work with this Santa 6, who I don't know, who rides motorcycles with this guy Joe, who I don't know, who got you in the country. Now I'm sure they feel the exact same way about me with thoughts like, oh great, this cocky asshole prima donna Tim Kennedy who's all over Instagram is coming in here. Can't wait for the selfies. You know, I probably should follow Tim, but I mean, I like the dude, but I don't want to see pictures of him. Whatever. This is the hand we were all dealt. We all decided to come here. Now we all have to rely on each other. Still, at this point, the only people I'm trusting with my life are Nick and Chad, I'm assessing everyone else as they come. As the trip goes on, and we drive the couple hours to the military base, I start to think myself, I can gamble that Sean Lee is one of those guys too. He doesn't play himself up, he doesn't pretend to be a big deal. He talks earnestly about why he's here and his experience overseas. He tells us he is currently being used as the S3 Air in civilian terms, the guy coordinating flights and manifests, and he thinks that's the perfect use for him. This is a good start. I was worried about clashing egos because you have to be a little crazy and confident to be out here doing what these guys are doing. We arrive at the JOC. The UAE has graciously given us rooms to sleep in and a quasi-secure conference room to work out of in their officer training center. I'm instantly amazed as I walk in. The one that we have in the United States is among the crappiest buildings you will ever see. Our stuff looks like they took World War II cement barracks and updated it with Holiday Inn Express level luxury, because that's exactly what ours is. This building I'm now standing in, is an absolute work of art. We are greeted at the door by gentlemen with white gloves who offer to carry our luggage. Everything is marble. There are water fountains, there are sitting areas, art, and luxury. This place is nothing short of majestic. As we check in, they tell us that there's 24/7 room service and that they have comped us 3 meals a day for our entire stay and that they are honored to have us here. I did not expect this level of hospitality. Sean Lee walks us to our rooms. Nick and I are right next to each other, and that takes us to the JOC. At this hour, the only other person awake is Leon Worthen, an Army intelligence veteran who now works with the National Child Protection Task Force. I introduce myself and Nick does the same. While we chat with Leon and shoot the shit, Sean Lee is on signal and talking to Sean G. When he's done, he walks over. Hey, our next flight is leaving in 4 or 5 hours. Sean G would love for you to be on it. He needs the help, if you're up for it. Then we need to leave here in 2 or 3 hours. Okay? We will see you then, I answer quickly. Nick and I go back to our rooms and order steaks for room service while we clean up. When they arrive, we sit in my room and talk. Where do you want me? Nick asks. I appreciate this question significantly. Nick was an officer, so he's used to doling out orders and being in charge. What's more, he's in charge of his own companies for 15 years. But he hasn't been a man of action in a long time, and he knows it and isn't pretending otherwise. This is a consistent trend in my closest friends. They know who they are, and they know their capabilities. Nick can still fight well and shoot well, but he isn't tactically current, so he's asking for my judgment. I don't know yet, I tell him. My gut instinct is that I want you watching my back from inside the wire, as opposed to running operations with me. But let's meet with the guys on the ground first. Okay, man, he says, then starts again. I'll need you to promise you're not going to do anything stupid. I'm really afraid of your wife, and if you end up dead, she is 100% going to blame me for not controlling you, even though everyone knows damn well you cannot be controlled. I promise I will not do anything stupid. I will try not to do anything stupid, I say. That's not exactly what I asked you to promise, he replies, smiling. I know, I say. We eat. The steak is great. Nick keeps me company while I check my night vision and satellite phone to ensure that they have batteries and are working properly. By the time I am done, we have 90 minutes to sleep. That's enough time to get at least a few winks. Talking about winks, I pretty much pulled an all-nighter. I had like maybe a 3.5 hour nap last night, just trying to prep for furniture delivery and whatnot. Then I woke up dead to the world. Still tried to get a little bit of cleaning done, so you know I could prep everything properly for the new furniture coming in. And when they finally dropped stuff off, I laid down for a 2-hour nap. I woke up for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and I was just like, I can't deal with this. So I went back to sleep for another hour. So a 2-hour nap followed by an immediate 1-hour nap, and I feel pretty okay right now. For me, I'm doing pretty good. We'll see how that feeling goes tomorrow, because I do need to go to the dump. And, Lima, if you're listening, get those 2 Ottomans out and send me a text message before you go to sleep to remind me to go pick that stuff up. Because I definitely need to go to the dump because I'm up to my elbows in dump level trash. Stupid new construction. It's odd being on an entirely empty plane. There's 7 crew members, Nick and me, and that's it. While the UAE government has lent us 2 C-17s to use for this operation, they make their runs later in the day. We were able to work with some large donors to get access to some 737s as well. This bird is from Cam Air, an Afghan outfit. As such, the entire crew is Afghan. There is no longer a ground crew working in Kabul, and the plane is only allowed to land at a military airstrip in UAE. So imagine a porta potty sitting on the side of the road for 2 weeks in the hot Georgia sun, and that's what this plane smelled like. When we first got out and I sat down, Nick once again sat right next to me to fuck with me. And now he's sitting across the aisle, staring into the back of his chair. You good, I ask him? He looks up. Yeah, man. It's just a little surreal. It's been a minute, you know? But this is fucking historic. It's awful historic, but it's historic. This is the fall of Saigon for our generation. Maybe we can make it a little better. How do you not help when you know you can? Just getting my head in the game. I'm proud of them. My big 3, Shane, Justin, and Nick, all reacted differently to this mission. Justin's known me longer than anyone, and he knew I was going no matter what he or anyone else said, so he kept it simple. Are you really going to leave me alone to open your school, open your headquarters, and relaunch your supplement line by myself? You probably planned this shit. That's lazy, Tim. That's real lazy. Shane was more overtly worried. What do you mean you're going to Afghanistan? You know you're not 26 anymore, right? The greater good and your moral compass won't matter when you're dead. Guys have a tendency to hide love inside insults. I feel the love. I love those 2 guys too. Oh. And then there's Nick. His dumbass is on the plane next to me. All 3 of them would have gone if I asked them to, even Shane, who has no military service. It's a good feeling to have them in my life. I'm going to lay down and sleep, I tell Nick. I'll wake you up when we're on approach, he answers. I'll lay myself on the ground in front of the first 2 seats in first class and pass out. Every once in a while I wake up and see Nick talking to the crew. They're asking him to get their families out. He promises he will try, and he means it. I know that will be a tall order. Some 3 hours later, he has tapped me on the shoulder. We're on approach, buddy. I pop up and stretch out. Then I pull out my body armor and gear and pack all of my stuff up. I see the Afghanistan landscape come into view. Gray mountains that seem to go on forever. A destitute city faded into those mountains and dust that seems to cover everything. A piece of me is down there too, somewhere in those mountains. It's been some years since I've stepped foot in this place. It feels like yesterday and a lifetime ago. All at the same time. The wheels touch down and the plane bounces once or twice. It doesn't take long for the plane to come to a complete stop at this one runway airport. I look out the window and see a dude with a leg prosthetic pushing the staircase to the side of the plane. A minute later, there is a loud banging on the door. The crew opens the door, and that same dude is sitting there waiting to greet us. In a gruff voice, he says, Tim Kennedy and Nick from the internet? These are wild times, boys. Welcome to Kabul. We grab our shit and follow him down the staircase. My eyes go wide. And that sounds like some Call of Duty level shit right there. Welcome to Kabul! If you've ever spent time on a runway or near a hangar, you know that pilots and ground crew are anal about the cleanliness of the area. If one random piece of trash gets sucked into their engines, it would blow the turbine the same way the pilots fear bird strike. They fear trash. Additionally, at any airport, there are very specific pathways for ground vehicles versus aircraft, and there are generally ground guides everywhere. Absolutely none of that is present here. The ground personnel are running a couple of OGA, other government agency guys. They aren't guiding aircraft or anything. They're pushing staircases up to planes and loading people on and taking people off. If a plane needs fuel, one of the crew members has to climb out and connect everything himself. Ground vehicles are zipping in front of, underneath, and around aircraft. This is absolute chaos, and it sets a tone for what I am about to experience. Last time I will ask, you want me to go with you, Nick says. On the way over, I had told him if he and I are both outside the wire, then I have no one I know as backup. We thought Chad was going to come with us, but he tore his quad getting one more jiu-jitsu workout in before flying out, so he can't run around in Kabul right now. I need you to West Point the fuck out of this. Build targets, work the ground, help everyone else. Make sure we get home. We can revisit this tomorrow after I get a sense of who these guys are. Okay, man. Sunset and sunrise, then at a minimum, Nick says, referring to our minimum contact communications plan with satellite phone if my normal phone craps out. Yep. Love you, man, I say, hugging him. Love you too, he replies. 3 dudes walk up, all reeking of special operations. Operators move differently. They talk differently. They seem chill and on edge all at the same time. They still maintain the bravado of the infantrymen, but it's more relaxed. Almost laissez-faire in nature. First guy's in his early 50s with a glorious mustache and introduces himself as Sean G. He's our team leader. He emanates confidence. The next guy looks like he belongs more on a beach catching waves than he does in
Hello,
Kabul.
motherfucker.
Oh, hello to you too, Cheetah. He's got bronze skin, flowing locks with a bandana holding them back, and cool sunglasses. Even his clothing, which is the same kind of tactical shit we're all wearing, somehow looks more stylish. He introduces himself as Sea Spray. The last guy in his crew is Dave Johnson. Dave is in his early 60s, but keeps himself fit. He's an SF guy and West Pointer from the 80s. Sean G and Sea Spray will be running outside the wire with me. Dave will be working the gates from inside the wire, picking up targets we bring in so we can get back out as fast as possible and solving whatever problems pop up for us. Hello, motherfucker. Waffles indeed. There you go. Jesus loves you. Nick, are you coming with us, Sean G asks. If you need me, he replies. Nick's going to run target acquisition for a while, I say forcibly. If they ask him, he'll say yes, and I feel strongly that I need someone I can trust and keep eyes on the big picture. And from a protective friend standpoint, until I know who these guys are in action, I sure don't want to risk his life. Cool, Sean G says. Come with me. I walk off with him and Dave. Nick jumps into a Polaris MRZR with Sea Spray and takes off in another direction. Sean G walks over to an armored Land Cruiser that he has very obviously stolen. We get in and he asks, "What do you need?" "I need a gun and local comms," I tell him. "Good answer," he replies and hands me an AK-47, some basic comms gear, and a map of the airport. Then he walks me over to an area alongside the gate, but away from everyone else, and asks me to tell him how I would build a rat line from here. This dude is testing me? Well, I'm a little angry but not surprised. If I was in his shoes, I'd be doing the exact same thing, so I also respect it. This is a very complicated situation on the ground. Politics in the United States is negatively affecting in real time what is happening here in Afghanistan. In some cases, the Department of Defense and Department of State and even smaller agencies all have different competing agendas. So in some cases, we not only have to slip evacuees past the Taliban, past their own countrymen, through a barricaded airbase, but also past American checkpoints. It is all dependent on whose list we are working off at any given time. This is I hate government bureaucracy. It's just like you need to do A and B to get to C, but they add steps Y, Z, and FR, and nobody knows those because they just made them up on the fly for better security or better optics for their next promotion. And it's, can we just get the job done and worry about the fallout later? I never did understand that about any type of government agency or whatever. I understand the need and want to be promoted within your own wings and ranks and stuff, but not at the cost of the potential for damage to human life or loss of human life. It's a very selfish. I don't want to lose my job, but I also want to get promoted, and I don't care what the cost is. I mean, there are some good people in all these agencies, but at the same time, the higher up you go the food chain, sometimes, a lot of times, the worse their behavior is for reasons of greed and promotion and self-preservation. It's gross. Anyways, it's like the concept of officers being separate from the enlisted men, and the non-commissioned officers being in charge of enforcing ridiculous standards set by people who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about because of that separation. They've never been on the other side of the fence. The best officers are people that used to be enlisted men. Personal opinion. Pinus. Because they have standards and they know, because they've been on the ground in the middle of everything. Mm-hmm. In theory. So, just in case I'm being as clear as mud, if somebody was in any branch of the military and is giving you advice on firearms, grain of salt, do your research, and waffles. I can tell you, I can teach the basics, but I can't tell you about long-range shooting any more so than somebody who's just watched Sniper 4 times with Tom Berenger. Anyways. With that in mind, I assess the area. At first glance, it looks like a good place to slip people in and out of the wire. But I look at the terrain and ask myself, where would I put an observation post? Sure enough, under optics, I see Taliban exactly where I would be set up. This won't work. I look at the map and find an alternate location that OP cannot watch. Foliage around here is overgrown. The Taliban are too lazy to come here. No one wants to push through bramble and thorns. I see a spot where we can move a barricade just enough to squeeze a person in. That person traverses the wire just so. I check the area once again. Under optics and thermals, it's all clear. This is it, I tell Shanji. This is where I'd run it. Okay then, run it. I don't know how long I've been going, but it's been a while. I've had cumulatively one complete meal in the last 24 hours, spread over maybe 12 micro meals that amount to a bite of a meal bar or some nuts or jerky that I brought from home. Sea Spray has eaten less and has been on this mission several days longer than I have. He's at the point where his stomach cannot really process food properly, so he eats a saltine cracker here or there to give him some energy without destroying his digestive system, shitting his brains out and losing efficacy. He's a total stud, and it took me no time to completely respect him. In fact, the whole team has come together, well, across the board. It's almost like a dream scenario. There are 12 dudes forward on this mission, plotted across 2 countries, plus Sarah back in the States. None of us know each other, and we've all been able to put ego aside and just work. Nick, Sean, Lee, Leon, and Santa 6 are working seamlessly, and we are getting excellent target packages put together, and then approved through Sarah by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I have no idea how many people I've personally grabbed, but apparently the entire team is getting close to 10,000 people evacuated, which is insane. When I came here, I thought if we got a few dozen out, it would be a win, but this team is just clicking, and the generosity of the United Arab Emirates seems to be boundless. I wait quietly in the night and send a WhatsApp message to my target. I'm here. Send me the signal, I commanded. I watch the double check marks appear, and a moment later, some 100 meters away, I see a phone screen lit up green. Stay there, I tell her. Sea Spray and I move quietly to her location. We wait about 50 meters away and observe. There's no movement. We inch closer. Have you seen the movie about the astronaut? I say firmly. I haven't. It was absolutely bananas, comes the reply. She's past the far and near recognition signals. My challenge had to include the word astronaut. Her response had to include bananas. We close the distance. When we get there, she has her documents ready. Sea Spray and I confirm that the passports she has match with the ones we received digitally. Okay, this is our lady, and these are her 5 kids. Let's move. Sea Spray offers up. We start to move out from the field we're currently in, toward the town proper. When we see movement that doesn't belong to us, Taliban. The news has shown a very calm and non-violent Taliban, but that isn't the Taliban we're seeing out here. Another group, operating parallel to us, had a rescued woman and was about to load her into their vehicle when she got separated from them by a few feet. The Taliban murked her right in front of the hood of the vehicle, brains everywhere. It was a dare. Now that she was dead, that team had no legal cause to fire on the Taliban, as they were no longer a threat, so they left. We didn't want that situation, but we also didn't want a 2 against a lot of bad guys gunfight with a woman and 5 kids in tow. In fight or flight, sometimes flight is the right response. We grab them and start running. And thanks to our wonderful, most popular president of all time, the Taliban has gotten billions of dollars worth of vehicles, weaponry, and ammunition. Good job, Joe. Build back better. America can be summed up in one word as shimmy. Oh, I mean, I can rage, I can cry, I can punch at the sky, or I can laugh. I'm choosing the latter of these actions because we are in a shit situation nationally and most definitely internationally right now. Cheers on that note. Have some creek water. Whiskey, it does body good. Well, not my body, but my body is a dumping ground for everything. There's no way we're going to outrun adults while dragging kids in a straight line, so we cut tons of angles, running through alleyways, houses, and gardens, and take whatever turns we can to slow them down by forcing them to make a directional decision. My heart is pounding, and I keep looking over my shoulder as we move through the city. Finally, I see the crowds in front of me. They go for blocks and blocks, but the crowds mean that we're close to the airport, and that means there are cameras everywhere. At some point, they stop following us, and we arrive at Abbey Gate. Dave Johnson is waiting for us to escort these 6 inside. Even still, it takes about an hour to get them through the wire. I look around at the thousands of people pressing against the walls and the wire. I've never seen such desperation in my entire life. They want so badly to be on the other side of this wall. It's the real difference between life and death for many of them. They all know the clock is ticking and that come August 30th in 6 days, their chance to get to safety will be gone. I feel incredible pain for the soldiers and Marines guarding these walls. They're playing God right now, deciding who lives and who dies, and I know that will weigh on them for the rest of their years. Every once in a while, as the Taliban beat people away from the cameras or fire AK rounds into the occasional person they can separate from the crowd, the entire body of humanity comes to life and surges toward the walls. I see people ripped up by the concertina wires as they get pushed forward and they have nowhere else to go. I see babies crowd surf to the front of the wall, the way the rest of the world would crowd surf a beach ball at a rock concert. Imagine being so afraid that you just trust your infant to a sea of strangers because you legitimately think that it is their best chance of survival. In the worst cases, mothers throw their babies over the wall, hoping someone will catch them on the other side. Instead, those children hit the concertina wire on the inside of the wall and bleed out. I've only seen moments of this pain because I'm trying to keep up with the Adonis that is sea spray, and I don't have time to think about it. But these guys are just sitting on this wall, doing the best they can, doing their jobs, and giving comfort to these people. Poor people, God bless them. Anticipation reaches its apex as the buses Sean G acquired come to a complete stop in front of the Black Gate. We're at the gate, I tell Nick over the sat phone. It's the middle of the night, and I'm reporting back to the guys. Nick flew back to the UAE with some high-value personnel that we recovered and is flying back out here tomorrow, possibly with Joe Robert, who doesn't have COVID after all. Oh, well, thank goodness. Oh, what is that, a cat? Is that a cool cat? Is that cat wearing shades? I can't tell, I don't know. Nick and Sean Lee are manning the JOC. They're excited. We're excited. Tonight has been incredible. Sean G crafted a master plan to rescue several high-risk populations in a single night. It was daring and we are smoked. But in our convoy of buses, we have 300 orphan children and just under 100 Nazarene Christians who will likely be killed or tortured under the Taliban. Several families of Afghan pilots who have been flying us in and out of Afghanistan, several personnel and government asked us to rescue, and best of all, more than 70 United States citizens. All we have to do is get them through the gate. Dave Johnson is waiting for us there. He's greased the skids, and sure enough, the buses get escorted through the gates into a holding area. We did it! This is a huge moment. I'm almost brought to tears. Night, buddy. And congratulations once again on Oslo? Is it Oz? Well, whatever. Ozzy. Congratulations on Ozzy. Tell Sarah I said hi and the kids too. The amount of planning, work, and frankly luck that went into making this mission successful is impossible to understand. Sea spray smells like ammonia. That ranger school of your body is eating your muscle smell. No one has gone harder in the paint than he has this week. Sean G looks worn as hell, but the ever so slight smile increased only at the corners of his lips. Tell me otherwise. He's energized by this moment. It's the reason he came here. It's the reason that in his 50s he walked away from a huge DC job to prioritize saving human lives. 500 people in one night, and we still have time to work. Who the fuck is bringing buses onto my base? Comes a voice I don't recognize. I squint into the night and see a figure walking over. I pop out of the bus and walk in that direction. From the tone, this is either a field grade officer or a command sergeant major. I put my nicest face on. By the time I get to him, Sea Spray, Dave, and Sean G are here as well. It's the colonel from the 82nd Airborne. Hey sir, how are you tonight? I ask. What the fuck are you guys doing driving buses onto my base? He asks again. I immediately realize that we need to defuse the situation quickly or it is going to go bad. Apologies, sir. These buses have a bunch of U.S. citizens, children, Christians, and folks that the state has asked us to pick up. I thought this was fully coordinated with you, but clearly it wasn't. We'll follow any protocol you want to get them cleared. Let me tell you something. This isn't the Tim Kennedy show. This is my show, you hear me? He snaps. Fucking officers. Anyways. Whew. Yes, sir, I answer. Sea Spray stares him right in the eyes, then shakes his head in disgust and walks away. Dave figures out that the colonel is a West Pointer somehow. Maybe he had his ring on. Maybe they have some lame secret signal, or maybe they can smell each other's West Point pheromones. But once he realized it, he tried that approach. Hey brother, I graduated from the same space as you did. I promise that we did this right. We cleared all these folks. Tell us what we need to do to make this right. We'll walk them right into our plane and fly them out, he offers. I don't care what you went to, undergrad. These people aren't coming on my base, period. Turn these buses around, he says as he starts turning away from us. Sean G has had enough. Are you fucking kidding me? You're good with throwing American citizens and kids out the fucking gates because it wasn't your idea? You do this, I will call you every general I know, every politician I know. I will commit myself to making sure you regret ever meeting me. At this moment, I am legitimately afraid of my mustachioed team leader. He is not joking. The colonel sees this as a threat to his masculinity and power. Get all of them off my fucking base, he growls. This isn't your base. This is an Afghan airport, Sean growls back. I try to negotiate this to a reasonable level. Sir, can we at least go through the bus and pull out all the blue passports? You can't kick out American citizens, right? I almost beg. Turn these buses the fuck around now, he says. He walks away to some of his guys a few meters away. They look very uncomfortable and ashamed. Dave and Sean G are not giving up, and they walk over to him and keep the argument going. I call Nick. They're kicking the bus out, man, I tell him on the sat phone. What? He exclaims. How can he possibly do that? There's some fucking West Point Brigade commander over here that thinks I'm trying to challenge his authority and he's willing to kick 300 kids to the curb to show that he's in charge. Are you fucking kidding me? Can you reason with him? Did Dave try the West Point card? Nick asks a West Pointer who knows that shit has worked every time in the history of the world. Yes, the colonel doesn't give a shit, I tell him. What's his name? Nick asks. I tell him. I know him. He's a class ahead of me. If you cannot solve this on the ground, I'm calling Senator Tillis. We cannot let this happen, Nick proclaims. This guy isn't listening to us, man. There's nothing I can say to him, I tell him. Stand by, Nick answers. The last decade and a half of civilian life are gone, and he is back in officer mode. I hear him switch to his cell phones while my line stays open. He calls Sarah, who connects him to Kim Barnes from Senator Tillis' office. Senator Tillis drops everything and tries to solve the problem. He's making calls to DOD and DOS as Nick is on hold. While Nick is on with Tillis, Sarah calls the Joint Chiefs of Staff and numerous congressmen. As a result, multiple powerful people begin calling down to Kabul. In a matter of about 20 minutes, our ragtag group has managed to mobilize the handful of people of character at the highest levels of government who actually care about this mission. We needed 25 minutes. By the time the runner gets to the colonel to stop him, he has already kicked our buses out. All the U.S. citizens, all the kids, all the Christians, and all the people of our government asked us to save. In my entire life, I've never seen a more pointless display of authority. I don't know how guys like my Special Forces boss, Colonel Theo Unbehagen, and Nick come from the same place as this guy. By now, Sean, Lee, and Nick are not the only ones on the other end of the phone. Santa 6 just arrived in the JOC, as did Leon. I can hear Sean Lee explaining what happened. I can hear Santa 6, an absolute bear of a man who has seen and done everything there is to do in and around the military, ask how he could do that, his voice cracking like a child's. I hear Nick swearing like a sailor, then a long pause. I'm so sorry, man, he finally says. Yeah, I answer. Me too. What are you guys going to do, he asks. I look at Sean G, dejected, rage fueling him. I look at Sea-Spray, checking all of his gear, stoic. I look at Dave, embarrassed by his fellow West Pointer, but resolute. We're going back to work, I say. Oh, man. So, as I was saying earlier, about just because somebody was in the military doesn't mean they value all the values that the military teaches. And so this is one of those people, if he's this toxic in the military, when he becomes a civilian, he's going to be that dickhead that you never want to deal with. He is a true-to-life Ken with a chip on his shoulder. And that's not all military. I mean, even people with severe PTSD, most of them are pretty cool. You know, they'll usually turn to self-medication and self-abuse before they would hurt anybody else. But people like this, he's the angry McMansion owner, you know, and his wife is, you know, is definitely a Karen incarnate. You know, do you know who my husband is? And they're mad. I call them the angry millionaires. You know, they have enough money to be driving around in the Mercedeses and the Jaguars, and the Maseratis, but not enough to be in the Bentleys and the Lambos and the Bugattis. You know, just they're well-to-do, and they act like they're Bezos or Gates, or you know, they may be multimillionaires, but they act like they're multi-billionaires and that you owe them something, peasant. Why have you entered my space? Kind of people. Not everybody former military is cool. I'm cool adjacent, but you know, I'm cool in my own way. My mom told me so before she left. Fucking sea turtle. Anyways, let's carry on. After the bus incident, things got a lot tighter. The rat lines we were using before are now being watched by the Taliban. We cannot move in big formations, so we have to work solo. The guys at the JOC tried to convince us to stop for the night, but we couldn't do that. Once again, I am faced with the things I hate most, a lack of control over an outcome I desperately want to go another way. But I had to, we had to, accept that outcome as the past and focus on the present. We cannot control the bus decision. It's over and done with. What we can control is get more people out. So we do, all night, all morning, all afternoon. Sea-Spray and Sean G run off and find their own fresh rat lines, and I choose where I know no one will follow, the sewer line. This takes a special person to walk, calf deep in piss and shit, and I am that person. Families I took back there weren't necessarily happy to be waiting in the muck, but they were safe. 12 hours and no sleep after the bus incident. I smelled like literal shit, but our little crew had managed to move another couple hundred people to safety. Now we had yet another problem. The air crews for Cam Air were no longer willing to fly. There had been numerous incidents this entire time. One of the engineers on the flight that Nick and I had flew in quit when we landed in Afghanistan and said he would not come back until he got his family out. Another set of pilots shut down the plane in the middle of the runway, essentially taking the entire airport hostage for a period of time. They too wanted their family's safety guaranteed. This was a tough pathway to walk. We tried our asses off, but getting them manifested legally, finding them, and getting them on base was a huge task. At this point, we probably had gotten 8 to 10% of them to safety. That wasn't enough for this group, so they got off the plane and huddled nearby, waiting to get their way. You know, it's not like these friggin' damn jets have keys. You know, like a ignition key. If you know how to fly it, fly it. Bye, Felicia. At first, we just set up. The planes we have to move, and we are the only ones here to move them. We all start figuring out things like how to open the cargo bay doors and load luggage and move the staircase to the plane and other random airline stuff the crew would normally do. One of the engineers who didn't quit told us we needed a new battery, so Sean G starts rummaging through the other grounded aircraft and finds a battery that will fit. We somehow cobble enough parts and effort together to get the plane ready to fly again. Right when we feel we've succeeded, the pilot walks over and tells us if we don't get his family out, then he will not fly. Damn it. I feel rage, and I'm about to lay him out. But Sea Spray goes down a different path, and I follow. I know you're scared, he starts. I would be too. You have to understand, I want to get them out too, but I cannot promise you that I will. I can only promise I will keep trying. Our pilot friend is surprised by this honesty. I jump in. We're a team. There's a ground component and an air component. We're on the ground. You're the air. Look, man, if we were only worried about our own families, we'd be home. We're volunteers. He was very surprised to hear this statement. He thought we were in the State Department or military. Sea Spray continues. Set aside your personal feelings for a minute and look at the great big picture. You're part of a rescue operation and you're saving Afghans. Every single time you decide to put your uniform on and fly, you're saving 400 people. And it's not just you and yours, but a larger responsibility. The pilot starts crying. I tear up a little. Sea Spray is not only right, but he means it. This isn't psychological warfare for him. His emotions are on his sleeve. He's all in. This is a dude who graduated from two of the best institutions in the world and could be making bank in the business world, and instead he is running around with me, risking his life. I will fly, the pilot says. He then calls all of his fellow Cam Air pilots and asks them to fly as well. It is an incredibly brave moment. We start loading people onto the plane. Now, I'm not saying the world would be a better place with more soldiers willing to do the right thing even after their service, but the world would be a better place with more soldiers willing to do not only what is right, but what is necessary for the betterment of all their fellow men and so on and so forth. It doesn't need to be military personnel. There can be civilians who volunteer because there's plenty of other stuff that can be done, humanitarian and aid work and so on and so forth. And I know it doesn't pay a mortgage, so it sucks if your house isn't paid off yet, but at the same time, I think it's possible to do this type of aid work around the world. You know what? I got nothing. It's penis. It's penis! The earth shakes and explosions echo through the airport. That was a bomb. Sean G, Sea Spray, and I look at each other. We're simultaneously hoping no one got hurt and that our trip isn't coming to a premature end. The internet moves at the speed of light, at the same time that some of our partners from DoD and DOS are letting us know there are casualties at Abbey Gate, a gate we have frequented many times over the past week. Nick and Santa Six are hitting up Sean G and me, asking if we are okay. A suicide bomber got inside the wire and detonated, killing 13 U.S. service members, all 25-year-olds or younger. One of them, I would find out later, is Sergeant Nicole G., a young leader who grew up a few hours from where I did in Sacramento. She helped us earlier that day when we had to search the women we rescued before bringing them on base. She was really sweet and high energy. She wasn't going through the emotions. She greeted every Afghan with a smile. She loved her job and her service. This is absolutely the worst possible situation. I joined the military in my early 20s. I felt old then. I felt knowledgeable. I felt like I had experienced life. I had no idea. These brave troops, 11 Marines, 1 corpsman, and 1 soldier, gave their lives to help those in need. There is nothing more honorable. As I stand on this tarmac and think about them, people I had stood next to hours before, I cannot help but be reminded of my children. My daughters are this age. Sean G and Nick have kids this age. When I was young and my friends died, it was personally painful. This feels even worse, though I don't know them, because now I understand what they have traded. I know the years will never have. They will never have. The families they will never grow. They will never grow, and the laughs they will never enjoy. We take a moment of silence for them as the sun goes down. An hour later, Sean G and I are sitting in a Razor four-wheeler eating a snack. The whole world is locked down now. Santa 6 has confirmed that, at least for now, he will not be able to land an aircraft in HKIA. The military is blocking all civilian aircraft, and UAE is not super excited to send their C-17s into a place that just got bombed. Suddenly our signal lights up. It's Seaspray. He'd been off visiting some of his buddies that he used to work with. Hey guys, get everyone you know, grab your guns and come here now. Things are bad and needed immediate QRF. Seaspray is not a drama queen. He's the kind of guy who could be in a firefight against an entire platoon of enemies and say something like, hey, if you get a chance, could you come out and help me? Or could you come and help out? Sean G and I know this is a big deal. We call every special operations or State Department guy we know in the airport, then go lights out on the vehicle and race to his location. When we arrived, we were shocked to see that right outside of a top secret hangar is a foreign military plane. We park, drop our night vision down, and maneuver to where Seaspray is waiting with one of his buddies from a former life. He believes there's 20 guys who look like special operations types. We creep into the entrance of the building, and under night vision we see sparks flying everywhere. These guys are cutting pieces off vehicles and equipment, trying to use the fact that HKIA is chaotic after the bombing to extract intelligence information. Motherfuckers. A couple of them start to move around the plane with gear. Fuck. 4 against 20 is not my idea of a good time. Seaspray's friend moves away from us and identifies himself. The bad guys stop and face him. Then more show up. Then more. They all speak perfect English, but their accents accentuate the fact that they are not Americans. At least another dozen dudes with guns filter out of every crevice of this hangar. There's definitely now more than 30 guys against 4 of us, and I like nothing about this situation. What's worse is that these guys act like they move like us. They may not wear the same uniform, and they may not be quite as good, but they're going to be close. If anyone gets an itchy trigger finger, there's a good chance we're going to die in place here. The room is completely silent. You can hear everyone's breathing. Then something miraculous happens. You know how in movies when the heroes are trapped by a larger army of bad guys and are seemingly defeated, and all of a sudden the reinforcements show up over the horizon and the bad guys have no choice but to stand down? That happens. Except instead of some medieval army or cavalry unit riding up, it's a who's who of special operators pouring out of the building. I'm instantly, significantly more happy than these 30-some-odd dudes wearing the other uniforms are significantly less happy. However, we are still in a Mexican standoff with another special operations force. The tension is palpable. Our guys bark orders at our guests. Guests, I like it. Tense shouting comes back our way. I'm less interested in the words and more interested in trying to gauge facial expressions and body language. Finally, after several back and forth exchanges, our guests lower their weapons. Do you need us anymore? Sean G asked Seaspray's friend. Nope, you guys should bail now, comes the response. We do. Seaspray, Sean G, and I get back into the Razor. Did that fucking happen? Did that just fucking happen, I asked. I think so, Seaspray answers, but I'm really fucking tired, so maybe we imagined it. All I know is that foreign militaries weren't landing in HKIA to steal our stuff before Tim Kennedy showed up. I think you're bad luck, man, Sean G says, smiling, and then adds, we need to find a ride out of here because after all this shit, no one that isn't U.S. military is landing here. He was right. Santa 6 definitively let us know that nothing from the UAE is going to land in Afghanistan, so he and the boys are going to work on an alternative option. We, however, need to be doing the same, because nothing is definite out here for guys who are here in a quasi-official capacity. In the midst of all this bad news, we get a little bit of good news. Chad's interpreter, Aziz, has made it to the UAE safely. While he flew there on our plane, we weren't the team that grabbed him and saved his life. We owe those guys a huge debt of gratitude and wish I could thank them by name. We link back up with Dave to discuss our best options for getting out. Then we go to every contact we have worked with or knew from our past or current lives to see if we can hitch a ride with anyone. After a couple of hours, we find some folks from the State Department that have 4 seats on a plane arriving here in a couple hours. I hit Santa 6, John Lee, and Nick up via signal and let them know. Internet access is in and out now because they've jammed all the cell phone towers in the area because the bombing, in case there are any phone bombs or terrorist cells coordinating in the area. But there are a couple of organizations still here on the ground that let me bounce off their signal. We'd be flying into Uzbekistan and then we'd have to fly commercial out of there. Not ideal, but it should work. How nuts is that, though? It's nuts! Nuts, I tell you! Oof. Oh, yeah, buddy. Except the plane crashed. Mechanical issues began in mid-flight, and they couldn't make it to the airport, so they had to hard land in the best place they could. The Hail Mary chance we had of getting out of here crashed into Pakistan. Everyone ended up okay, but we are now once again planeless. I call Nick and give him the update. Okay, man, we'll find a way out. Every lead we run down comes up short. The military birds are full, as are the Department of State birds. I begin to wonder if we're going to have to walk out of this place. If we have to, at least I know this is the team to do it with. Still, I'd rather not. Finally, I find an airman that recognizes me. Oh shit, are you Tim Kennedy, he asks. He is Tim Kennedy, Sea Spray answers with a smirk. Awesome, man, I'm a huge fan, my new airman friend says. Me too, Sea Spray chimes in. Ignoring him, I ask, is there any chance you have some room for us? Our ride crashed in Pakistan. No shit, how many of you are there? 4, he asks. Raid! Oh yeah! Woo! Remy! I get to watch it now. Boom, we got analog with it. Thanks for the raid. Thanks for the raid, guys. It's your boy, Psycho Veteran. For all those of you who are new to the channel, we use the N-word around here. It's called no. Thank you, boy Dazzle. Appreciate the follow. I'm a huge fan of One Piece. And no, I'm not current and I don't read the manga, so I still have about not quite 200 episodes to watch. The kids would say that I am somewhat based, but I'm just a constitutional extremist, you know, believe in those silly documents our founding fathers wrote. Welcome. I'm glad you're watching. I'm glad for the raid. Thank you so much. We are currently reading Scars and Stripes by Tim Kennedy, and, you know, Dressrosa is a great arc. As a matter of fact, so far it's one of my favorite arcs because of the introduction of Joker, aka Doflamingo. Now, if that's a spoiler, I apologize. like I said, well, I mean, we painted this little Zorro over here last Wednesday, which tomorrow night is Bobby Ross Wednesday. So you've already watched the Thriller Bark arc. There's nothing happened. Wednesday nights, you guys rated me on Books and Bourbon Night, which is cool. I drink bourbon, and right now, like I said, we're reading Scars and Stripes by Tim Kennedy, and we're actually on the tail end. We are. I didn't realize this book was this current, but they're talking about doing civilian evacuations over in Afghanistan after our wonderful commander-in-chief decided to evacuate the military and leave billions of dollars equipment behind, and American citizens and Afghan interpreters and so on and so forth. Great book, super awesome, great read. If you run across it and you're into common language military type stuff, it's the shit. Anyways, Bob Ross Wednesdays are my new thing. I've been doing it for 2 weeks now. I've done smaller pieces, and so on and so forth. Right now I'm doing outlines, but we'll be doing fill work too. I'm absolutely loving One Piece, and like I said, my master bedroom, I just got my bed delivered today. It's heavy-duty wood with big chunky bolts because I'm going for a theme. It's my entire master bedroom is going to be all One Piece and pirate and ocean themed, so it's a process. But you know what they say. Time that you did enjoying something isn't time wasted at all. So who cares what other people think? Enjoy yourself, and instead of raising a whole bunch of ankle biters, I'm just making up for a childhood lost. Even though I was technically an adult when One Piece started. Shh, I'm old. Don't worry about it. Anyways, welcome, Boy Dazzle. Thank you so much for the follow and the raid, and I'm going to continue reading if you're okay with that. I stream at 9 p.m. Central, and like I said, tomorrow night is Bob Ross Wednesday, so we'll be just painting and chatting. But right now, back to the book. Dave at least just smiles. I can put you on the ramp, man, no problem, my airman buddy tells us. You're the shit, I really appreciate it, I say, and then add, so where are we going? Qatar, he tells us. Looks like we're going to Qatar. I jump on the Signal app and type, found a ride to Qatar, we'll touch base when we land. Communications now complete, I shut my phone off to save battery life and walk to the edge of the ramp. I turn to look one last time at the vastness of the Afghanistan landscape. I left so much of my life in this place. A lot of Americans died here. Hell, I almost died here. Was it worth it? It's dark now, but I can still see the edges of the mountains against the night sky. A feeling of sadness and failure encompasses me. I might never be here again. I walk up the ramp. Shit's intense. Oh. And tonight we are drinking Creekwater whiskey, I believe from Tennessee. Creekwater. So cheers, welcome Raiders, and Boy Dazzle, thanks for the follow. And the raid, obviously. Yeah, that's my religious mug right there. This is the worst flight I've ever been on. It only takes about 2.5 hours to fly from Kabul to Doha, Qatar. We've now been in the air for almost 14 hours. This is what happens when everyone is fleeing a country. You're flying to the last place still accepting Afghan refugees. There's only one ground crew working the whole airport. We've been literally circling the airport for 12 hours. Most of the people on this airplane have never been on a plane before. Prior to getting on, they were hungry and dehydrated. At best, they have a bag each. They left the crushing heat of Afghanistan. Now they're in a barely climate-controlled freezing C-17 with leaky hydraulic lines and occasional hissing from one component or another. They're all rammed together, sitting on hard metal floors, and people are getting claustrophobic and irritated. The shouts come more quickly from the men now. Where are we? When do we land? Women start passing out from exhaustion and dehydration, and that sends some of the men to more of a fury. We have to land now, a few demand. It's not their fault. For over a week, these people have tried desperately to get on base and to get to a flight out. Now they have one, and we've been circling for over half a day. The excitement is worn off. They left everything they know behind, their jobs, their homes, families, possessions. Now they're wondering where they are going, how they will eat, and whether they will be able to find work. The anxiety is building, made worse by the conditions. For our part, we actually lucked out sitting on the ramp. We're the only 4 guys up there, so after we moved things around to get comfortable, it has been pretty good. For me, the only negative is how much enjoyment Sea Spray, Sean G, and Dave are having at my expense. The air crew, the security forces guys, and even a couple of the Afghans have recognized me and asked for selfies. Sea Spray keeps offering to take them and is adding his own commentary now, in the same way that AF provided his during Ranger School. As much as the ribbing is annoying, them knowing me did work out for us. When 4 dudes dressed in operator gear with no papers get on a plane with no questions asked, everyone assumes you are operating deep in the black. When they realize I'm one of them, they extrapolate a lot more that isn't actually there. Not once do any of us lie. We all tell them about the absolute truth. We're here on a volunteer mission as civilians, not as a military. But no one believes us because it is just too absurd. Who the fuck just flies to Afghanistan, runs a 10-day evacuation effort, and gets their own hangar, ramp, weapons, and call signs at the JOC if they were just dudes who showed up here on a whim? Actually, when you say it like that, it sounds absolutely ridiculous. After 7 women pass out, we get permission to cut to the front of the line ahead of 14 other birds and land. It is a welcome relief to feel the tires hit the ground for about 30 minutes. We've landed, but there's still only 1 ground crew, so we are still stuck here. Except now it isn't cold. It's smoldering hot because we're on the ground in Qatar and the AC is off. The Afghans lose it. The men are yelling at people. One guy starts throwing shit at the guards. I hope he doesn't mean actual shit, but... who are now holding their weapons instead of slinging them. Another woman starts having issues breathing, and the guards cannot get to her because the men on the plane are too aggressive. So they have to crowd surf an oxygen bottle to her husband and pantomime how to use it. I've had enough. The 4 of us work our way off the ramp and to the security forces guys by the door who they are using to offload women who need ambulances. Both guys are really cool, and I took photos with them earlier and shot the shit for a while. Hey man, can we get off, I asked? Yeah, no problem, Tim. I'm going to call my buddy to pick you guys up so you don't have to walk. It's a couple of miles, man, he says. I did not expect that. So we hop out of the plane, and a few minutes later a truck shows up with an E3 driving it, and we all hop in. Is that what it's like to be Tim Kennedy? Sea Spray asked mockingly. Tim's the kind of guy that only uses Uber Black, Dave chimes in. Little known fact, Tim doesn't pay Uber, Uber pays him, Sean G adds. I'm happy they're enjoying this. This airman is awesome. He's an and he's absolutely looking out for us. I turn on my phone. There are several messages in my Signal app from Nick. Dude, I don't know if you're getting any of these, but we're working on exfil. Then, bro, if you have any comms, now's the time to tell us if you have a ride. If I don't hear from you, we are coming for Santa 6 is working on options. Then, man, I hope you guys are okay. Transportation is almost locked up. We're working on getting the money together. How the fuck? I sent him a message letting him know that we were flying out. I looked for a message. There it is, with 1 check mark, and there's a second one. It just sent. Oops. When you send a message in Signal, it shows 1 check mark when you send, a second when it has gone all the way through and been received. Then both check marks turn white when the recipient has read them. I had only waited for 1 check mark before shutting off my phone. Nick and Santa 6 never received anything from me. I call Nick. Oh, dude, just got your message. So glad you're okay. And you have a ride to Qatar. When do you land? He asked, clearly relieved we're actually safe. I'm here, man, I say. What do you mean you're here? We've been working on Transpo for 12 hours. Santa 6 did a drug deal to get a Blackhawk to fly you into Uzbekistan. We're sitting here freaking out, and we're about to wire $500,000 to a contractor to get this done, and that's because Santa 6 negotiated him down from $1 million. Why didn't you say anything, he asked, his voice getting somewhat agitated. I sent you a message, I said blandly. No, you didn't, he trails off. Okay, I just got it. Did you just send this to mess with me? I sent it from Kabul. It may not have gone through, I respond. Did you not wait for it to go through? He half yells. Hey, you're breaking up, I say as I fake static noises with my mouth. I have to go. And see, kids? This is the main reason why I hate texting. Because you send a text and you just assume in good faith that not only did it go through, but that the other person received and read said message. Versus getting on a sat phone or regular landlines and just confirming stuff verbally. You hear them say that, yeah, okay, gotcha, 10-4. Versus, I hope this friggin' digital telegraph gets through and gets read, and sarcasm is lost on texting too. It's terrible, I tell you. Anyways, penis. I'm happy you're safe and I hate you, Nick says as I hang up. After talking to our E3 buddies, we realize we'll need another COVID test before getting on our next plane. Whatever that will be taking us. The way all these countries work is that you need to take a fresh test every time you enter the country, and you have to do a PCR test, the one where they tickle your brain by sending the swab way up your nose. Within 72 hours of taking off, so our E3 grabs another one of his E3 buddies, and that guy watches our gear while our guy takes us to the Air Force Clinic. These guys will knock out these tests like a mass production factory, so as we walk in, they get right into it. Where are you guys coming from? Kabul, I answer. You have your orders, he asks. We do not, I say. Any paperwork at all, he asks. Nothing, man, I say, shaking my head. Ah, fuck it. You guys are all Americans, and you're Tim Kennedy, so you're probably not terrorists, he says matter-of-factly. I had not introduced myself yet, so Sea Spray is really enjoying this. Fucking Sea Spray. We have a little while for our tests and are ready to head out. Can you drive us to Doha proper? I ask him. And the city is actually 20 or so miles away from the military base. I wish, man, but we're not allowed to leave the base. The best I can do is get you to the gate, and you could try to get a taxi, he says, clearly bummed out by not being able to come through for us. That's perfect, man. Thank you. We reload on water, hit the bathroom, and drive to the gate. And there we sit. No taxi will come get us. It gets dark. There are no cars. We're in the middle of nowhere. I take off my shoes and socks to let my feet air dry out and make a pillow out of my backpack. We're not going to solve this problem right now, and I'm going to sleep. Sea Spray, Sean G, and Dave are considering for a moment. Join me in grabbing some well-deserved side-of-the-road shut-eye before nodding off. Dave gives us the Danny Glover classic line, I'm getting too old for this shit. I hear something. My eyes pop open. I see light. A car. I jump up as it rolls toward us. I run out into the street and try to flag it down. The driver, apparently not impressed with a chimp-shaped man with no shoes running at his vehicle, swerves out of the way and keeps driving. Maybe he doesn't watch Hunting Hitler. A sleepy Sea Spray chimes in from out of nowhere. I do not give him the satisfaction of acknowledging his comment. I still feel exhausted, but the edge is off. I scan the horizon. I see more lights. There's another car coming. Once again, I try to flag the vehicle down. This guy stops. I explain our situation. He waves us in as we cram ourselves into his vehicle. When we get into the city, we grab a couple of hotel rooms and share them for the couple of hours we have left before we catch our morning flight back to the UAE. Nick and I are planning on staying here a little longer. But once the U.S. government pulled out of Afghanistan completely, there was no longer an easy way into the country from the Emirates. So after a day of recovery, Sean G and Santa 6 have a new mission for us. We need to help get some of these refugees out of here. After 10 days of constant operations, this amazing 12-man team evacuated over 12,000 American citizens, permanent residents, and Afghan refugees, including 8,911 personnel we moved to the UAE, and another 3,200 we moved elsewhere at the request of the State Department. Our evacuations represented 10.2% of every soul that left Kabul. Only the U.S. government did more, and no other private entity came close. I don't know if it was divine intervention, cosmic luck, or unbridled determination, but I strongly believe the right 12 guys and the right woman back stateside came together to make this happen. Chad was the spark, Santa 6 was the structure, Joe was the mechanism, Sean G and Sea Spray were the scalpel. The rest of us fell into place and worked. 12 other dudes with our resumes might have spent a lot more time getting into pissing contests for dominance. It never happened, and that's why we were so good. No matter where life takes us, I will always be thankful for this team. It was magic. But now we have to get working on the next phase, and for that, Nick and I, with permission and approval from the State Department, are heading to Albania with 300 Afghans. A non-profit by the name of the Open Society Foundations, which is funded by George Soros, and another, Solidarity Now, which also has ties to Soros, are paying for their resettlement in Albania, either with the intention of eventually coming to America or staying there if they choose. While Soros is substantially left of my political comfort zone, this is good, solid work, and we're thankful for the assistance. So less than 24 hours after I step foot back in the Emirates, I am leaving their incredible hospitality and generosity and delicious lamb meatballs and hummus, and I, along with Nick, Chad, and Joe, are heading to Albania. As a parting gift, Santa 6 left me a book, the USAID Humanitarian Guide to Crisis and Disaster Response. That'll help, he says. I'll read on the plane, man. Thanks. We arrive after midnight in Albania, and there are press everywhere as well as representatives from Solidarity Now and the U.S. Embassy. The Lieutenant Colonel from the consulate helps us pull our bags off the plane and skip the line and walk right up to the gate to leave the airport. We walk up to get our passports stamped by the customs agent, but he just waves us through. Man, I know it is convenient now, but I wonder if this will bite us in the ass in Greece. Nick wonders aloud. Joe and Chad are on the ground for a meeting in the morning, and then a quick turn back to the UAE. But Nick and I are spending the morning in the U.S. consulate to Albania. And then the day with Lauren Silber of the Open Society Project, before driving to Athens the next day to catch a flight back to the U.S. We're hoping the consulate, the Open Society Project, and Solidarity Now have an appetite to take on more refugees. It's late enough. What? It's late enough that there aren't really any restaurants open, but we managed to find some pizza. The four of us scarf it down and say our goodbyes. We hit the hay, planning on meeting Lieutenant Colonel Errol Munir in the morning for breakfast. It's already 3 a.m. About 4 hours of sleep, we wake up at 7 a.m. to meet him at 8 a.m. But happily, there is a WhatsApp message from him saying he is running late and that he will meet us closer to 9 instead. This gives us an extra 90 minutes of sleep, which at this point is a gift. When he arrives, Errol gives us the lay of the land, who to talk to, the cost to house people here, the concerns of the government toward refugees. He has his shit together, and it's great information to have going into the day. Next up, in our meeting with Laura Silber, she is staying at the same hotel that we're staying in, and her car is picking us up and bringing us to the seaside resort where the refugees have been brought. The car ride is interesting. Laura is a whip-smart New Yorker with a lot of probing questions. I don't think there's anything she would be surprised by or that she couldn't handle, but I also have this feeling she is looking at Nick and me like lions or gorillas on the other side of a cage. Her questions to us all are political ones, giving us the litmus test to determine if we are good guys or bad guys or what based on her worldview. She covers everything from guns to Trump to vaccines to you name it. Sometimes she nods along with a smile, other times I see her almost grimace when I answer, not so much in pain, but more of a how can he be so misguided sort of way. No, she's from New York, so, you know, what do you expect him? Nick and I, being us, ask her how we failed the test, whether she's going to try to kill us. She laughs. There's no test. Yes, there is, I reply. We definitely just got tested, Nick added. Okay, there's a test, she admits. You guys didn't quite pass, but you're smart and I like you, so I can work with it. She's very smart and very good at what she does. This might be an interesting day. We finally arrive at the resort. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful and they have spared no expense. It's surreal. The Mediterranean is lapping up against the beach, and there's a tiki-style bar and a real Italian pizza. Oh, that's a lot of penises! No, not at the resort. Oh man, that's so many penises. The buildings where the Afghans are staying are gorgeous. There's a huge courtyard filled with soft grass and trees, and there are tons of children playing inside. Lauren introduces us to Domniki Georgopoulos, a member of her sister nonprofit, Solidarity Now. Domniki is from Greece, and she is the project coordinator for Solidarity Now in this region. She's a Harvard graduate with a global Erasmus Mundus master's degree. We have now established once again that we are the dumb ones. I mean, let's not judge a fish, by its inability to climb a tree. Calm down, monkey. Laura lets us know she has to go meet Alex, whoever that is, and Domniki is here to give us a tour. She walks us over to the courtyard, and we see the kids that we brought in last night. The kids that we put on our planes in Kabul. Same kids that lived in fear outside the gates and slept on hot tarmac, hoping we'd find a plane for them. The same kids who had likely seen several people killed or beaten on the journey that brought them here. These same kids were now playing, running, and laughing at a resort. Solidarity Now had already hired teachers who spoke their language. These kids were already learning. The exercise for the day had been to draw the ideal village. Domniki explains that teachers do this to see if any of the kids are potentially suffering from post-traumatic stress or other traumas. All the villages were beautiful and colorful, like the stuff you'd see happy American kindergartners draw. I feel tears hit the corners of my eyes, and I keep my composure. Nick and I film them playing for a minute, and then just sit down on a picnic table and watch them for a while. We upload the pictures to the other 10 guys so they can see the fruits of their labor in action. It's an awesome moment. After a while of chatting with Domniki, Laura comes back and tells us she wants to introduce us to Alex and the mayor of Tirana, Albania's capital, Arion Veliaj. Wow, pretty cool that the mayor wants to meet us. We walk over to a table near the beach. The mayor is a tall, good-looking dude with a lot of charisma. He's warm and kind to us, but he's not here to see us. He's here to see this Alex dude. I case him quickly. Alex's watch is nicer than most cars. He's not moved by people easily. This guy comes from money. Lots of money. He's got 2 security personnel. One's armed, one isn't. One's pretty good, one isn't. Hi, I'm Tim Kennedy, I say. Nicky P, nice to meet you, Nick adds. I'm not saying his fucking name. I don't give a shit. Paul Misciano. I'm sure it's easy to say, but Nicky P is easier. Don't judge me. He makes eye contact for a second and says, "Hey guys, I'm Alex," and goes back to talking to the mayor. At some point I realize that this is Alex Soros, George Soros' kid. Nick does as well. Well, this is interesting. They excuse themselves to another table for a private conversation while Domniki keeps us company. She's good company. Genuine, a change-the-world idealist like we were 15 to 20 years ago. These guys are lucky to have her. We kill a pizza from the pizza place together while they have their meeting. More pizza? I'm okay with it. Finally, Laura returns and asks if we want to ride back with Alex so we can get some time with him. Whatever works for you, I answer. I'm realizing this guy must live a life where everyone wants something from him. I don't want anything at all unless he wants to fund some more refugees. Hell, I kind of want to be a refugee if these are the digs. Tim, no. We get into the vans with Alex, his friend Zach, who is sporting a tracksuit of sorts, Laura, and the security guy with the gun. The other security guy drives. I decided to break the ice. This guy's pretty good. You should keep him on as your security guy. That makes everyone look at me. But you should know, we'd kill all of you if we wanted to. I'd grab him and get his gun. Nick would watch my back until I had it. And probably Zach because he's closest. No one else is armed, and none of you are fighters, and then, boom, this is over. Jesus, Tim! Nick starts laughing and can't stop. Alex smiles. Are you going to kill us, he asks. No, you're super nice. I'm just saying, we would kill you if we wanted to. You need 2 or 3 of him, I reply, pointing at the security guard who doesn't suck. The guy who is very cool and used to be a British cop agrees with us, but adds, I know who you guys are, and I know you're safe. Otherwise, you wouldn't come back here. You wouldn't be back here. Pen 15! After that, the conversation is more relaxed. We talk about Afghanistan, tell some stories, and bring up the refugee issues. We arrive at the airport. Apparently, it's time for them to fly somewhere. Argentina, maybe? We shake Alex and Zach's hands. Laura gets out of the vehicle to see them off. Just to be clear, did you just sort of threaten to kill Alex Soros? Nick asks as he starts laughing again. No, I was just trying to tell him his security sucks and he needs better staff. You can't be a target like him and roll like that. But also, we could have, I say, smiling like an asshole. We could have, Nick agrees. Is it time for a quick break? Oh, we're so close. We've got about 13 more pages. I think we're going to take a quick break. I mean, you don't always have to humble. I mean, it's not bragging, okay? Like on the note of humble brags, it's not bragging if it's true. Although sometimes you just need to keep certain things to yourself. But to be fair, he's been operating off about 10 to 12 days with little to no sleep, off of even less food. So, anyways, I'll be right back, you lovely lads and lasses. Lords and lairds and blah blah blah. About 5 minutes. 5 minutos.
Here I come.
Haha!
Hey! Now listen here, mister. I don't mean no trouble.
Go back into your own console.
But sir, I doesn't even have my own console. We're multi-platform now.
Knuckles?
It must be a Mario. He take racing too seriously.
He takes everything too seriously.
You motherfuckers invite non-Nintendo characters onto my track?
Oh, what's it? Auto racing!
Holy shit! He's killing all the non-Nintendo racers!
What is he? Some kind of racist?
You're not Nintendo! You're Pretendo! You're all race traitors! Oh my god! Ah! I'm fucking going to my head! Ah! 23 years of jumping of barrels. 23 fucking years! Oh god! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Luigi!
Coming for you, nigga.
Mario, think of our history.
So, you like it to go fast, huh?
All right, I caught it. Now it's mine, and I can force it to do whatever I want.
Mario, stop! We're brothers! I have no brother.
Mario!
Oh shit, it's Kratos! Fuck you, Kratos! You PlayStation characters never learn! Suck my mushroom tip, you fucking son of a pig! Oh, hey Mario! Nintendo! Flash kids.
I'm sorry, boy. Oh, come on. Don't do the dance. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
Man, I just love noodles.
Not as much as me, dude. Not as much as me.
Oh yeah? I bet I love them even more.
Okay then, how much do you love noodles?
This much. And I will always love noodles. Yeah, I'll always love noodles. Yeah, I'll always love you. So how much do you love noodles? Oh my God!
Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel P.T. Chester Whitmore is proud to present Bongo Chungo and the Zimbabwe Songbird.
Do you see Banana Man hopping over on the white hot sand? Here he come with some for me, freshly taken from banana tree. Banana Man, me want a done. Give me double and a bonus one. Give me more for all me friends. This banana flow will never end. Do you want a banana? Peel it down and go Do you want a banana? This banana for you. Tonight we dance around the flame, then we get to play the spirit game. Spirit names we shout out loud. Shake the thunder from the spirit cloud. All the songbirds in the tree chant a tune to let the spirits free. Then we see them in the night, spirits jumping by the firelight. Do you want a banana? sight, you know. You could laugh and kick it back and go, but without a rhythm or a rhyme, you do not banana all the time. Fly away from city on the run, try to make a little fun. Don't you come to the bungalow after that you tell me don't you so? Don't you love the popping of the drum? Make it shake until the bongo numb. Let the bongo play until you drop. This banana never stop. Forget all your troubles and go with the flow. Forget about whatever you may never know. Like whether whatever you're doing is whatever you should, and whether anything you do is ever anything good. And then forget about banana when it's stuck in your throat, and when they make you wanna bellow while you're stuck in a choke. And then forget about the yellow from the colorful man, and if you take another one and make a mark of your plan. Bungalow, bungalow, make up your mind and tell me no. Well, it's 9 o'clock and it's getting dark and the sun is falling from the sky. I've never left so early and you may want.
Penises! Pen 15s? Oh. Anyways, I'm back. Did you guys miss me? I know you did. Everybody's passed out, doing other things. It's cool. I still love you guys. That night we grabbed drinks with Laura and Dominique. And then Nick and I have a stellar dinner that Laura reserved for us in the mayor's name. After 10 days of running hard, enjoying a Wagyu tomahawk steak was an extra nice touch. I allow myself one glass of wine with the meal, a rare treat, as I do not really drink anymore. Okay. The next day we hire a car, drive us to Athens. Naturally, when we get to the border of Albania and Greece, they are super happy that 2 American dudes with body armor are in a car, driven by 2 sketchy Albanian guys, and we don't have passport stamps for entering Albania. After a fun hour sorting that out, we get through and check into a Hilton. Is it that time already? We check into a Hilton overlooking the Acropolis. It's 1 a.m. when we check in, and I am absolutely done. You want to walk out to the Acropolis, Nick asks? Nah, man, I'm crashing. We have that meeting in the morning. I crash. Nick goes for a walk around Greece. What? You know, that's just the theme for Pornhub. Once again, morning comes fast. The meeting is with Dominique's direct boss, Antigone Liberaki. Dominique recommended her as a woman we needed to meet to talk about the possibility of doing more work in Greece. And she was absolutely correct. On a full trip of impressive women with gravitas. Antigone takes the cake. She's no nonsense, charming and smart. She spent years in the Greek parliament. Her uncle is the prime minister of Greece. She's a force to be reckoned with. She cuts right to it. The Greek people have a tremendous appetite to help people, but they got burned with the Syrian refugee situation. Were promised family units and instead were given a lot of high-risk single males who have caused problems. If we can send women and children or full families, she believes Greece will support a group of up to 1,000 refugees. We report this information back to Sean G and Santa 6. With our final mission complete, Nick and I race to the airport and get on our flight to Atlanta, Georgia. Within 30 minutes of being on the plane, Nick passes out, and for once I cannot fall asleep. Ideas are racing around my head. In the last 10 days, I've experienced loss, death, fear.
Hello, motherfucker.
Oh, hey, welcome back, Cheetah. Failure, sadness, and joy. I've saved women and children. I've saved our allies. I've also left thousands more behind, including 300 orphans, 100 Christians, and about 70 American citizens. I've pushed my body and mind to the limit. I've also met with NGOs and politicians in 3 countries that have been asked to negotiate to improve the lives of thousands of people. I've bonded with amazing veterans in Sea Spray, Sean G, Santa 6, Joe Robert, and Sean Lee. I came through for my friend Chad. Okay, is it that time? You want me to stop reading? I can. But we're so close to the end. Like, seriously. Penises. I came through for my friend Chad, who is so fundamentally happy Aziz is safe. I've met global power players and let them know they could die at my hand. This has been a wild ride. I look over at Nick. He looks battered. He's the same good-natured idealist I met 15 years ago, but he's earned some scars. Divorce from his first wife hurt him badly. Being a single dad changed him. Ranger Up almost died, not once but twice. He's emptied his 401k to save it. He's been screwed over. He's had money stolen from him. He's had people he devoted time and effort to turn on him in the worst ways possible. But there he is, still positive, still fighting the fight. Well, I've had some of that happen to me, and guess what? I'm not a better person for it. I'm less trusting and more jaded. Penises. You should donate a couple bits just to see if it actually queues up the shit that you set up. I don't even know at this point. But thank you. I do appreciate it. It's just, penis. Come to think of it, all my friends are scarred. Oh, no, that's the generic shit. We need to get on this shit at some point and hammer some stuff out. Come to think of it, all my friends are scarred. Shane, Justin, they've not aged by time as much as by experience, risk, bad decisions, and good decisions gone bad. They've overcome so much diversity that, to me, sometimes their lives don't even seem real. They've been forged by hard experiences. Most they sought, some were foisted upon them. And then I come back to my life. I think about my own trials and the scars that came with them. My thoughts finally land on that moment all those years ago, standing on that beach. I had failures stacked against me, 2 women pregnant, possible HIV, kicked off the police force, and a host of other problems. It seemed like the end of the world. Those challenges seemed impossible to overcome. Now, that night in the ocean is a blip on the radar. It doesn't matter as the impetus to finally get off my ass and attack life. Those 2 pregnant women gave me Sabrina and Julia, my first 2 reasons to be a better man. Those girls have given me nothing but joy and pride. Being kicked off the force created a situation where I had to come to terms with my shortcomings. I didn't fail because life was unfair. I failed because I was a cocky asshole who made poor decisions. Stop attacking me, Tim! Without that failure, I would never have been a Green Beret. I would have never found my calling. I would never have reached my potential. Thank God for those failures and that night. The guy standing on that beach looked at life as a scorecard that you win or lose. He thought failure was the end. He was an idiot. The guy in Iraq who got beaten up for not being a team player couldn't have succeeded in the rescue effort I just undertook with this amazing team. He would have wanted to lead it, to show everyone how good he was instead of contributing to the group effort. He was an idiot, but it's okay that he was an idiot. In the Army, when you graduate from being a soldier to a non-commissioned officer, you earn the title of sergeant. In that moment, you earn your stripes. The upward-facing rockers that affix to your uniform, those stripes are the symbol that shows you are a leader, that you assume responsibility for yourself and those around you. It took me a lot to get there. It's been a hard road, and every step of the way, every additional rank, every additional accomplishment, every great success has required more of me. I've had to sacrifice more, suffer more, and yes, fail more. Failure isn't final. It's necessary. It's the fuel that allows you to advance and succeed. To earn those stripes, you need to earn those scars first. I took a deep breath, in through the nose and out through the mouth, pulling my stomach to the back of my spine. My mind is now calm. My eyes feel heavy, and I lean back into the seat. When I wake up in Atlanta, it will be my birthday, and I will be 42 years old. I'm excited. This is the beginning of a whole new amazing year of failure and suffering. I can't wait to get started. Well, that was the book. I'm going to read the acknowledgments in just a second. This was a really good read, guys, and I appreciate all of you who have taken time out of your busy schedules to tune in and do the thing. But let's finish up reading these acknowledgments, and we can put another one to bed. What's the next book? If I can find it, I'm hoping to read the Slash's autobiography. I've read about half of it, a little bit more than that, but you know, I need a refresher anyway, so that one's a different type of war story. This one's a sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I would like to run across Anthony Kiedis' autobiography at some point, because sex and debauchery, but you know, it might be a little bit too NC-17 for my stream. I don't fucking know. If we've read this one without getting canceled, I think we can keep carrying on. Keep on keeping on, people. Well, I hope I imparted something of value to you in my memoir. I also learned a lot, namely that it's really damn hard to write a book. So there's some people I want to thank. I do not want to thank Nick. My gift to him is all the time he got to spend with me during the past year working on this thing. Aw, Timmy, you shouldn't have. First, I want to thank my wife, Ginger. It's very easy to be me. The person living all of these crazy adventures, it's hard to be her. The person cleaning up the mess from those adventures, providing emotional support, keeping our business on track, and ensuring our kids are happy. She does all of that with tremendous grace. I love her very much for it. Next, I want to thank what we call the Council of Dads. After Nick and I finished every chapter, our process was to send it off to my dad, Mike Kennedy, and his dad, the senior Nicky P, for editing and fact-checking. We turned in our chapters to Simon & Schuster editor Amar Deal. He asked us if we used a professional editing service. We told him no, we used our dad's. Then he asked if they were editors or writers, and I told him, no, my dad's a cop, and Nick's dad is Italian. That didn't make sense to him, but it made sense to us. So thanks to Mike Kennedy and the original Nicky P for keeping us on track. I also want to thank Suzanne P, Nick's wife. She's responsible for the name of our book, Scars and Stripes, for the cover artwork, and for getting us out of a few tight spots over the years and earning the title of M, a la James Bond. I can't share all the details, but she could easily work for an intelligence agency, and I appreciate the help. This brings me to thanking Amar Deal, where we pitched this book in late 2020. We were fortunate to receive 7 amazing offers from 7 amazing companies. We chose Simon & Schuster's Atria books specifically so we could work with Amar. His guidance, attention to detail, and calm under pressure, especially when we told him, hey man, we're going to blow your deadline because we have to go to Afghanistan to do something, was invaluable and exactly what we needed out of a member of our team. So thank you, Amar, for joining the team and remaining steadfast and unflappable despite our best efforts. Plus, we made our deadline anyway. That's professionalism right there, guys. Which brings me to how we landed so many offers in the first place. While Nick's good with fancy words, it took another man to make our book pitch fancy. That guy... Oh, well, we reconnected, so I'll continue. Thank you to my managers and agents. Leo Korolinski, you're the most honest Russian on the planet, and I love you. Mike Fonseca, Jennifer Brazil, and David Larabelle. You opened doors for me that I could have never imagined. You're the best in the world at what you do, and I'll always appreciate you. Cheetah broke it. She found secret doors to crash my OBS. Damn it, Cheetah! God damn it, Cheetah! That's your nickname. God damn it, Cheetah. I'd like to add a major thank you to my military leaders over the years. I've been very fortunate to have a lot of good ones that supported me. While I've been blessed in this regard, I want to especially thank Alex Ortiz and Theo Unbehagen. Good leadership is rare. Positional leadership is a construct that is only real on paper and not in the minds of those they lead. The two of you showed such profound, genuine leadership and caring for those around you that I want to let you know I'm thankful for your rare quality of leadership. You broke OBS, Cheetah, with your secret doors in Realm or whatever. On to the people who helped me live my life well, so I would shit OBS. Not every kid gets to grow up with a hero for a dad, but I did. Thank you to my... Alright, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but it's getting vexing. Cheetah, stop breaking OBS. Whatever you're doing, just don't do that anymore. To Justin Lakin, thank you for having my 6 for longer than anyone without the last name Kennedy. I trust you with my family, with my business, with my life. To Shane Steiner, who would have thought that one of my best friends on the planet could come in the form of a dude who can go shirtless while sporting a floor-length fur coat, a blonde ponytail, and a fedora. But damn, man, if you don't pull it off. Thanks for the workouts, the roles, the long conversations, the loyalty, trust, and guidance. I don't deserve you. I don't know. It's OBS. Thanks to Joe Rogan for your friendship and support. After our first conversation, I changed a lot of things about how I approach life, and I've never looked back. I appreciate your wisdom more than you will ever know. To Chuck Liddell, thanks for letting a kid who really didn't deserve to be around you and for beating the absolute shit out of him. No beating ever hurt as bad as the ones you gave me, and it all made my future suffering a lot easier. And finally, thanks to you. Those of you who have supported me, doubted me, defended me, and fought by my side, or fought against me. To those who gave me scars or dragged my bloody body through the dirt, especially those of you who had my back over the years, whether it was from the early Ranger Up days to the Strike Force days, the UFC, or hunting Hitler, I sincerely appreciate you. Now, apparently Nicky P's got his own acknowledgements. Do you guys want me to read Nicky P's acknowledgements, or are we good? Are we going to just close the book? And I mean, I could show you guys pictures. You guys want to see pictures? Because this is a visual medium. Here I am proving that habits start early. Oh, yeah, look at that. Pew! Me with my dad, Mike Kennedy, in full uniform. Man, look at that. Is that red hair? You never mentioned that your dad had red hair, and then... blah, blah, blah. Something, kids. Celebrating my birthday with my friend Jared. Okay, cool. Learning Japanese Jiu-Jitsu with Terry and Barry. Terry and Barry! Yeah! Oh, it's so blurry. Focus! Focus! There we go. And we got bags, heavy bags, and look at him with them 2 babies. And then, oh, look oh, you know which one that is. Shit. Training with the boys at S-Fast. Oh my goodness, look at that shaved-headed Timmy right there swearing in. to defend the Constitution and blah, blah, blah. Basic training graduation? Yeah, it's so blurry. Why? Why you do this? Come on, camera, focus. Focus. Fuck it. There's a lot of pictures in here. Receiving the Green Beret, honor of a lifetime. Look at that handsome smile. Look at that. First mission in Iraq. Just grinning. Well, there's just a lot of pictures in here. Well, this is an interesting picture. Having a laugh with Randy Couture on the set of Range 15. Oh, I need to get a copy of that movie. I didn't realize Tim Kennedy was in it. Tim Kennedy! Oh, evacuating Afghans? That plane looks packed, son! Oh, and here's Nick. Meh. Why is that picture coming in, but this one isn't? Alright, well, now it wants to focus. Fuck you, camera. And the Kennedy clan. Well. So, you know what? I want to say it's been about a year since I started Books and Bourbon. And the first book we read was by the Dirty Jobs guy, Mike Rowe. I believe the title of the book was The Way I Heard It. I did record a clip and send it to his Twitter. Never got any responses, but it's okay. This was a good read, folks. As a matter of fact, I might gift this book to my daddy. Although this book was a gift to me, but I'll let him start reading it. See if he's interested. He'll probably kill this book while he's here. My dad is one of those book a day kind of individuals. He might take 2 or 3 days because his eyesight isn't the greatest. But you know what? He just turned 81 5 days ago. 81! Yeah, my dad's old as shit. I mean, I'm not exactly a spring chicken my damn self, but somebody drank all my whiskey. And we got a little bit more. Oh. Anyways. So, what'd you guys think? You guys were here for most of it. I don't think anybody's been here for all the book, but it's okay. I mean, I was going to read either way. It's a little bit slower when I have to read things out loud because I try to scan ahead and sometimes I flub and stumble because whiskey will do that to you. Although, you know, this is it's story time. I think it's imperative that people do things such as working out and reading. You know, I think, honestly, under the guise of self-help and or self-improvement, keeping your mind sharp and your body ready are two of the most important things you can do for yourself. Now, I can't dictate spirituality because I'm not a spiritual person in the least. But I'd like to believe that, generally speaking, I do the right thing. I don't always succeed at it, but that's part of being human. Is sometimes you fail, but like he said, you know, you got to get those scars in order to grow and improve as a human being. And yeah, I've added more financial stress to my life, so yay. But oh, by the way, the new mattress is quite comfy. It's not quite a Tempur-Pedic, but it is a memory mattress. It's a memory foam mattress. And it's got that adjustable base, so I can get the feet up and the head up, and I can make it vibrate, head and feet, and it lights up. It's really neat. Hopefully it'll help the quality of my sleep. I doubt it, but it'd be nice if it did. But generally speaking, you know, the only problems I really truly have are me and only first world problems over here. You know, I got hot and cold running, well, I've got lukewarm and cold running water, and I've got air conditioning. I just don't want to turn up the thermostat on the water heater because, you know, it's good enough for me, and I'm the only one living here, so who gives a shit? Let me save a little bit of money on my power bill, damn it. Although I know I might have more company if I had that water heater a little bit hotter, but I think I have all the company I can handle right now, even though for some reason I have this weird insistence on continuously improving the amenities available for guests and visitors, even though I'm in a place where, I mean, nobody in their right mind would visit. Although the wifey did ask, you know, she kind of, you know, she was like, so where do you live? I'm on the way south, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to Florida, and it's on the way. And I'm like, we're full up here. I feel bad because she was really hurt. But at the same time, you know what? If she wanted to do right by me, she could have just not been as herself as much as she was. But I wasn't a good person at the time when she knew me either. So if you think I'm difficult now, you definitely should not have known me in my early to mid 20s, because I was a bear and a half, and now I'm just a quarter bear. Quarter bear? Quarterback. Oh, what the hell is wrong with the stream tonight? Everything was going fine until the Fire Nation attacked. Anyways, I'm still a bit tired from that all-nighter, even though I had 3 hours of nap time. That still doesn't make up for my regular 5 to 6 hours worth of sleep, so I'm probably just going to call it here. Normally I'd switch over to Dead Cells or do something off-the-wall wacky. Do you guys have any burning questions about me or the book or anything? Otherwise, I'm just going to pull the plug. What was that one song where they played on the rooftop? The Beatles? And Dylan just decided to unplug everything to end the song, which it's one of my favorite songs from the Beatles, honestly. Doesn't matter. No. Going once, going twice. Remember, kids, drink whiskey, drink water. Do I wear underwear? Usually, yes. I have no qualms about wearing undergarments, because they for reasons of hygiene, they are somewhat important, you know. I used to prefer commando, and then I got a little bit older, but you know what? I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty details of health concerns and so on and so forth, but I'm glad you prefer commando. You're still a little bit younger than me, so you might not be dealing with the same health issues as me. Hopefully not, because that would just suck. But if you do, then if you know, you know. If you don't, I'm not going to explain it. It'll be your welcome surprise as part of second puberty, aka anything past 25. It seems gradual, but actually no. Like going through life in general, you know, 25 is when you develop your prefrontal cortex, where your brain's fully developed. So technically, on a physical level, your brain is at the beginning of its peak maturity at 25. Yeah, penis. Now I'm just babbling about nothing. Anyways, I guess something with words. Bob Ross Wednesday tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central. I might get on a little bit sooner. I should be doing the line work. It depends on how much time I can find for myself tomorrow. I do have to go to the dump, and as soon as I get back, I'm going to work on another 2 large canvases, and hopefully get the line work done so I can do the line work again, this time with bolder blacker ink. I could clean up all my handprints, but I don't see the point of cleaning up the handprints until it's fully painted. But what I might do is, you know what? We'll worry about that shit tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day to worry about that shit. Tonight's not the night. I appreciate you guys very much once again, and I'll be on tomorrow night for Bobby Ross Wednesdays as of 9 p.m. or maybe slightly earlier. So, love you guys. I will see you tomorrow night. Thanks so much for tuning in for Books and Bourbon, and we finished the book. We finished the book! I can read! Kind of.